So, first off, I'm going to make a couple predictions. Well, at least one prediction. You know how you see all these famous podcasters, all these famous social media influencers. Soon they're not going to be able to make money off of what they're doing. And you'll see a lot of these people exit. They might get real jobs. They might actually go, I don't know what they're going to do. But the money's going to dry up because it might be in like 5 years. Who knows? I can't give you a timetable, but it will be in the next 20 years for sure. If we keep progressing with AI, I don't think that we'll have some complete Mad Max scenario like people think. We could. It is possible. It is possible we have a nuclear war, World War III. But if we continue civilization, AI is just going to get better and better, and we will see, like, because I'll be able to make a video with anybody's likeness, for my own entertainment, and it won't have to be published. And maybe it just has my own private server I can use. So I'll just be able to take anybody and put them in the prompt, and then I'll just have AI create whatever they would do. I can interject myself, so like I don't even need to get these podcasters, so I messaged one of the producers of Timcast talking about, hey, I think it would be a cool idea to bring me and my son on about the radicalization of Gen Z. She never responded. If I was a big figure, she would have responded. So you're not going to have to worry about that. You could be somebody, just a regular person like me, which I am. I'm on your level. It doesn't matter. I have 10,000 followers on here or 12,000 followers on Twitter. Like, by the way, all the followers I have on Twitter will probably be gone pretty soon because of my opinions. But, yeah, you just be able to take anybody and create your own little simulation. You go on, you ask her, yeah, what's going on right now? And then you can create your own form of entertainment, your own news broadcast. You can, whoever. And like I said, you don't have to broadcast it out to the world, so you don't have to worry about copyrights. No, this will just be for you, maybe your family. It's just propaganda. Like, you'll be able to make different, like for communities, you'll be able to have somebody create all the propaganda, all the different whatever, Could be somebody like me. That's all I do is just I go on there and make this, use AI to make this, and it goes for our community, but doesn't go out for the whole world. And you just pay for the private server to store all your stuff. You just make simulations. Infinite. The possibilities are obviously endless. You don't need to. So if you wanted to create a podcast with Benjamin Netanyahu and Hitler, and you wanted to, be the one narrated in the debate, like we already see this happening. Marcus Aurelius versus Niccolo Machiavelli, or they take old people, what their philosophies and everything like that, and then they kind of debate each other, which is pretty interesting. But then you're gonna be able to do it with modern people, but like I said, offline. I think that you will have, since social media has gone the way it has gone, it really doesn't matter about getting popular anymore, and it's actually a detriment to get popular, because then you have a chance to get doxxed, and then people show up at your house like a Nick Fuentes, and then you have to deal with that. So I think in the future, regular people are going to come to their senses of like, I really don't want that. Everything that comes along, I don't want to see like comments of these random people, of these bots. And, the internet's pretty much fake anyway. It's like the dead internet theory is, there's some validity to it. But that's something that will happen, and you'll see a lot of these. So what's gonna happen? You'll see all these people, their money, their livelihood, just gonna dry up, and they're gonna have to be forced to do something. Now, if you download or use their likeness, you might have to like pay a subscription, and they get a little bit off of that. But you're not gonna deal with this. Get as many views as you can so you get this money. I think that you're gonna see cable. I think they're trying to get us to go back to cable. That's what social media is trying to do. But I think that cable's it's taking a huge hit. I don't want to go back to cable. I think I'm just gonna start reading books, even though I hate reading. But you're gonna see social media take a huge hit, because it's not about socialize, it's just monetization at this point. You're gonna see YouTube take a big hit. I don't consume as much YouTube as I used to. I used to consume hours and hours, and every single time I go on my little app on Sundays, it shows what I've looked at all week. And the most it's been the last couple weeks it's been in my interaction with AI. That's been my most. Gemini, me just messaging Gemini. YouTube hasn't registered on my it used to be number one. I used to have like 50 hours a week on YouTube consuming it. It hasn't registered for a few months now, because I don't really, you have these content creators where they react to people's, it's like they can't even come up with their own content. They can't do this. They have to put somebody else's creation up, basically stealing their and then, which is fine. I guess that's how it works. Like, I don't care who uses my content, as long as I get credit. But they can't come on here and just have streamlined thoughts. They have to like see something, then react to the thoughts. And you see their dumb face just sitting there like they're somebody important. You know what I mean? Like they're some type of celebrity, and it's like, whatever. You're YouTube famous, you're TikTok famous, you're really not that big of a deal unless you have like hundreds of millions, you know what I mean? Like millions of people tuning into you. You're not that big of a deal. Bigger deal than me, for sure. But there's I got 50,000 subscribers, or I got 100,000. Like, that's cool. That's awesome, man. But like, you're not that famous. Most people don't even know who the hell you are. But they sit there and their dumb little face, and they're like, and then they'll pause the video here and there and interject, or they'll just let this is the funny thing, when they just sit there and they're just like watching it, and like, why are you I don't need to sit here. You don't need to be in the video until it's over. Like, if you want to play the video, then react, that's cool. You know what I mean? But you don't have to sit here, like, have your stupid little face in the video watching. It's just, I don't care about. I don't understand why people think it's cool to sit here and watch people do things. I prefer to interject and to be a part of it. Sometimes I like to just, you know, sit back, you know, like enjoy the simulation a little bit. Sometime watch a movie, not really watch a movie sometimes. Passively watch stuff, TikToks or stuff, something like that. But for the most part, I never really watched the videos. I just listened. It was like listening to the radio for me. But yeah, you're going to see a lot of these content creators fall off. You're going to see the revenue dry off. And then we'll see who's still making content. You know, we'll see who's the real grifter, who only did this for resources so they didn't have to work a real job. Or we're going to see the people like me who actually, you know, make videos because we want to make videos. I don't get paid by anybody. Obviously, I don't get much views, and I'm still making the content. Not as much. It just depends on if I want to or not. I'm not obligated to do anything. I'm not, you know, I don't have to make a video every day. I don't have to make 10 videos every day. I don't have to do that. I can make a video. I can take a month off if I want. My opinions are my opinions, and it's quite obvious that nobody influences them anymore. There's, you know, back in the past, before I had to rely on other people, but now I just think for myself completely. I see something that's like, whatever. I can come up with my own opinion. I don't need to. You know, it's kind of like how I was using when I was going from NPC to critical thinker. You know, it's like you have your little opinion, but you don't have all the details. So, like, you know, this is why you go to a doctor or you go to a mechanic is, hey, this could be, but I don't know. So I'm going to go get their, you know what I mean? And you have to rely on theirs. They're the professional. So this is, you know, whether it's finance or political. So I was kind of ignorant and pretty, you know, very ignorant, didn't know. So you had to rely on these people who are smarter than me. Not to say like I know everything now, no, but at least I can like have more confidence in my own ability to have critical thinking skills. I've been in the trenches, I've been following things, and do I know everything? No, like I said. But I don't feel like I have to rely on these people at all anymore. I have information, I can intake it, and if I'm wrong about something, I'm wrong about something. It happens. And the funny thing is there's so much misinformation out here on the internet. People, it's usually bots, but they act like you're supposed to be able to decipher it like really quickly. You passively see something on Twitter, you passively see something on TikTok, and you're like, oh, sounds legit. You know, and you're not going to research you know how long it would take to research everything you see, you passively see? I just don't have the time. I have to work a real job. I live a real life. If I didn't have to do that, sure, I can research everything I see, but I don't. So I do the best I can out here. Seeing, you know, some of these leaders of the America First movement, which I'm American only. I'm not America First with these people. I agree with some of the things they're saying, but, you know, I'm realizing that they're a bunch of frauds. They're supposed to be like these anti-Jewish people, which, you know, I'm not anti-Jewish when it comes to the race at all. Like, I'm not for what Hitler did when he just like killed a bunch of innocent civilians, just people that have no influence. They're just peasants. You just slaughtered them for no reason. I'm not for that. So, but I am anti-globalization. I am anti forced integration with like why is it like all the white places have to be forced integration? Why can't we have our own space? Everyone else has their own space, even the Jewish folks. Why can't we? Why do we have to take on, you see that what's happening in Spain right now with the influx of all these illegals flocking in, but it's like, I'm thinking to myself, even though I even said this, I'm like, why don't we just start a GoFundMe and do the same thing to Israel? Let's just go ahead and get all these Muslims and flood them into Israel. They want to keep playing these games. We can play them too. They like to play the word games. It's like, well, guess what? I'm not against. I don't care about the race. I don't like the religion. Yeah, I don't like the religion. I don't like Judaism. If you're a Christian, you really shouldn't be for Judaism anyway, because it does reject Christ. It rejects Christ as the king. So these people are going to hell. It doesn't matter that they're chosen ones, supposedly chosen ones. They were chosen ones way back in the day of Moses, not no more. If you believe that if you don't follow Christ, you go to hell forever, they've been going to hell forever. I mean, not forever, for the last 2,000 years. But, Christians are brainwashed, like, oh, they're the chosen ones, so like no. That's not how it works. You're not just automatically going to heaven while rejecting Jesus as well. The Muslims actually, like, view him as a prophet. And I'm not saying I like that ideology, which I don't. I'm against it. I'm against it as much as I am Judaism. I mean, the whole thing to me, I'm not even a Christian, to be honest. But I would rather live in a Christian society than the Judaism or Zionism or the Muslims, the Islamic. I don't want to live in those. So I try to support Christians. I kind of look at myself as a mercenary, but I'm not getting paid for it. It's more about, preserving the future of me. That's basically where it comes down to. But you see these people in the America First, and it's like all these so-called leaders of the America First movement, a Nick Fuentes, a Jake Lang, Dan Bazario, whatever his name is, and they turn out to be Jewish. It's like, I don't know, they allegedly are. This is what I've been hearing. So it's like a psyop. It's a psyop. And then you hear these Zionists say, well, basically, this is going to follow you for the rest of your life. And it's like, fine. Let it follow me for the rest. Okay, so you don't believe in any type of forgiveness. So they're like, if you're a Christian, you should not be following these people. Because that's what Jesus preached, right? He preached forgiveness. Well, these people obviously don't. If you say something against Israel, they want to go ahead and take your livelihood, take your ability to bank. Just saying stuff about a country or a religion. Not even like, you might deep down think the race, but the way they play the word games, how they integrated the race with the religion is just, it's to confuse people. That's what it is. It's just to confuse people. And like, I can't stand Zionists. That's why I'm anti-Trump at this point. I'm not one of these these woke people on the left. And by the way, they haven't abandoned their ideology. They're still doubling down on it. The whole Sophia Cunningham thing that is happening with them, and they want. So my opinion is quite clear on the whole women's sports and men's sports. Is I think that women's sports should just be abolished. I think that they should just all be co-ed. Then we don't have to worry about this anymore. We don't, I just seen a video of the coach of the Fever saying, "I'm not educated enough." You're just too big of a coward to take a stance. That's what you are. If we were going to have men and women's sports, you can't be born a man, and transition into a woman and play it. It's not fair. It's not fair. So I'm against women's sports altogether because I think women should be in the kitchen. I think that they should strive to be mothers, wives. That's their natural role. Be protected, not be this girl boss. Now, I'm not saying some of them can't be strong, independent women like a Joan of Arc was, Amelia Earhart. But for the vast majority of women, I don't think that they have that mindset, especially when I was dating, understanding like they want you to take the lead, they want to follow. They're a bunch of followers. That's what they basically are. And that's their natural role, to be a follower. They need a man to lead them. But we also need men to be respectful and not take advantage of the situation too. Like the men back in the 60s and the 70s who would just abandon their families and start a new family over nothing. So, yeah, that happened. And you wonder why women are the way they are now. They didn't create the hookup culture. We created the hookup culture. So I think that things will even out, hopefully balance out. And that's what I want. I want things to be balanced. But the way things are going, how white people can't have their own space, own country. When I go to China, and I visit China, I want to be around a bunch of Chinese people. I don't want to be around Spanish people and Arabic people and white people. I wanted to be around mostly Chinese people because I want to go there and experience their culture and, be that, I'm visiting. Or it could be in Africa. When I go to Africa, I don't want to go see a bunch of white people. I want to, I want to go there and enjoy their culture and stuff like that. Any of these places. But for some reason, white people have to not have our own place. Not have, we can't have Europe the way it is. It needs to be integrated and completely mixed. And there's nothing wrong with having a mixed place. I think America could it's been okay. I think there's a lot of room for improvement. I think that there's a certain people on every single race, including people that look like me, who refuse to grow up, or integrate in the society. Maybe they are low IQ or whatever. People turn to drugs for a reason. Maybe they do it for party reasons, but I don't think that anybody as a kid grows up and says to themselves, "I'm gonna grow up and be." It's traumas and stuff like that. But that's a different video. But we if Israel wants to keep pushing and pushing for the mixed culture everywhere where white people are at, we already seen what's happened in the past with Germany, and we will see something like that, something similar. It's gonna happen. We will see a figure, and I don't think that he's well known right now, and it's going to be a man. Um, he's, all these popular people, it's not going to be any of them. It's going to be somebody that just, and it could be the Antichrist, I doubt that, but it's going to be somebody that is charismatic, like the Hitler, like he can speak very well, be very articulate and intelligent, and people are just going, kind of like the Trump movement. Trump is, you know, Trump is, let's not say this, there's two different types of Trumps, okay, from what I've seen. The first administration was pretty solid. This administration is 180, okay. He don't give a shit about any of us. He don't care about the high gas prices. He don't care about our economy. I don't know if he's getting false information, but he's putting Israel first no matter what. Even if it destroys our own country, he's got to put them first. So I'm not about that. I'm not about integrating our military with Israel's. So I can't stand the Democrats. I can't stand the Republicans. I think they're both trash. And I'm tired of this whole lesser of two evils. I think that our founding fathers would be completely, if I can go back in a time and bring them back and they can see what's happening right now, they would be disgusted, okay? They wouldn't be on the Republican side. They wouldn't be on the Democrat side. They would despise both sides because the Democrats, I've heard somebody say, I think maybe it was Nick Fuentes, the Democrats are for destroying our country. They want to keep flooding in everyone in here on our tax dollars. We have to pay for these people. And the Republicans are for destroying foreign countries. And it's just like, can we just focus on fixing our problems? I mean, can we focus on America only for a while? Can we stop bringing in so many people? Why are we bringing in all these men when we already have more men than women? Talk about a demographic collapse. It's because we have more men than women. Not overall, because there's more old women than there is old men. So it evens out, but like, what good are they? They can't have kids. They're past their prime. I'm past my prime. I'm like them. I'm like a grandpa, dude. I'm a grandpa. I'm not literally a grandpa, but I'm the grandpa age. And for me, when I look at women nowadays, American women, I'm just like disgusted. I don't see any type of, it doesn't matter if they're my age, young women, their inability to bond, they don't dress right, they want to show everything off to everybody, and that's normalized. I made, what is it, the line I made, it's in a couple songs I created, but the line I made is like, scantily clad is the new normal. That's the new normal. It's been normal. I like a woman that dressed modestly. Now, when it's me and her, yeah, I want her to dress provocative for me, but I don't want it for everybody else. And, our women have been captured by the Matrix. They're basically captured by the Matrix. I'm flipping through TikTok, just looking at the videos, just because out of boredom. Yeah. I'm not always going to be creating. I work hard, dude. Anyone, oh, you're lazy. Dude, you do what I do, and then we'll see. We'll see. We'll see. You go ahead, walk 37 minutes to work. Work the hard job I do. It's a great job. Work 37 minutes back. Come home and lift some weights. Come into my world. How about my old job where I drove an hour to work? Started my job at 7 p.m., got out at 7 a.m., drove an hour back. Come to my world, all right? Then you can tell me I'm lazy. I'm one of the hardest work, and not many people, if I'm locked in, not many people can work as hard as me. And this isn't me being arrogant. This is me spewing facts and reality. Not saying that I'm the hardest worker ever, but I'm just saying, like, not a lot of people can do what I'm doing. I don't need, the only validation that matters is my own. I don't care about anybody else's validation. I look at it as suspect. But anyway, they're completely captured by social media. Like I said, I go on TikTok and I see these old, like, women my age and older women. I look at them. For me, some of them would be, dating material around my sexual market value of, if we're going based off of looks and everything like that. Yeah, they're like a step down, maybe a little bit less, but guys are treating them like they're 7s and 8s. So they think that they are, because they get so much compliments, so much attention, and they really shouldn't be getting it. And I think that at some point this will dry up. It will. It'll dry up. People will go on to their lives and nobody's going to be watching, and they're going to be like, what's the point of this? Why am I doing this? I'm doing this because I want human interaction. I'm not getting it. Maybe you can buy some bots that give you that same time. The AI, instead of humans, you'll still get that feeling like, oh, I'm somebody famous. You know what I mean? Maybe you'll still get that, but I think a lot of people will shy away from that. And the youth, their number one goal was to be a podcaster, and I think that that's going to be cringe. I think this is going to be cringe. I think people are going to look down on this type of stuff. Not everybody, but I think like the general consensus of the environment will, it's the same thing that people are looking at celebrities. You look at these famous Hollywood celebrities, and they don't really have the oomph they used to have. Like, we looked at them like they were gods. We literally looked at them like they were gods. You buy, you have their posters. You got they're doing great things. And it's like, why are we looking up to these people who are average people? You're just an average person. You're not really doing anything spectacular. But maybe not. Who knows? There's a lot of NPCs out there, a lot of people who don't have an eternal monologue, and there is a role for the whole, like, oh, we're gonna get rid of it. There's a role for people because we need spectators too. There's nothing wrong with them just being consumers. We need that. But I think that the NPC, the internal monologue, I'm not sure if people were born like that. I think that they were formed, they were created, and they might be able to get out of that. It's just they have everything on autopilot. But I definitely think that we will have another rise of some type of a dictator, which actually solves problems, and maybe it turns out to be bad, but like, it's not bad now. Yeah, we have food, which is great. We have comfort, which is great. All these people on the right, oh, look, the people in the past didn't have, let's see. Yeah, well, I don't really have access to healthcare. Okay. I really don't have access to that. So it's like, yeah, it's there if there's an emergency. But I try to avoid going to the doctor like the plague, and I hope nothing bad happens. I wish I can go to the doctor more. That would be cool. You know what I mean? I wish I can go to the dentist more, but in this economy, I make under 50,000 a year. I don't get paid right. You know, I would like to contribute more, but the way they have morphed healthcare where and it was a boiling frog thing where you just pay a weekly premium and your healthcare is taken care of. Then they started to add on co-pays and then a deductible, and it's like anything to keep getting it, any reason to nickel and dime you. And then there's a lot of people in my position. It's like, dude, it's not even. It's a scam. It's a scam. If I don't have, if I have a bunch of resources I want to protect, sure. But if you don't have resources, what's the point of having healthcare? Okay, I go to the doctor. I owe 30,000. Okay, I don't have any resources anyway. Then I claim bankruptcy. I mean, honestly, at this point, I don't understand why people who aren't productive are being taken care of. They're on welfare. It is so crazy and backwards that people on welfare who don't really contribute anything to society other than consuming get better. They get treated. They're more important than somebody like me who actually contributes to the infrastructure of our country. And it's like, wouldn't you care more about us than these people who, or foreigners who, you know what I mean? It's just, why aren't you taking care of us? Don't you want me to keep working? Don't you want me to be healthy so I can keep working on the infrastructure? Oh, okay, you don't want me to be. Okay, then we'll just keep putting people on welfare, and we won't have, then the infrastructure will end up failing. The engine will end up seizing. So that's what's happening. We keep working, we keep moving forward at, the wages aren't going up. Oh, the cost of living. Listen, man, we just hit 40 trillion in debt thanks to Trump, thanks to the Trump administration. Since he wants to keep going, we need to keep fighting these foreign wars on different continents that have nothing to do with us, by the way, and not doing anything about the cartels, not doing anything to make our own continent great, our own country great. No, we need to go ahead and fund to blow people up, to blow kids up in schools. I guess that's what we're supposed to do. That's why we're working hard. We're working hard to bring people here. And by the way, these people from a third world country who don't have all the modern conveniences that we have, making it more expensive. Here's another thing. Making, if climate change is a human thing, we're just making it worse by bringing these people here instead of helping them where they're at. No, we're going to make the system, we're going to put more stress on the system, consuming more energy. Like this is, I believe that climate change is being affected by us because it has in the past with agriculture, with the Dust Bowl. So I do think it is being, but I don't think that we're just going to keep getting, it's just going to continue forever and we're just going to end up being like Venus. our planet. But I don't think it's as bad as they're saying it is. But it's just so hypocritical for these people who live in their ivory towers, right? They live in their huge mansions, isolated from us, by the way. They air conditioning. You think that they air condition one room? No, they air condition the whole palace. The whole palace. For what? For a couple people? They can't live a modest life. This is why I don't believe anything that they say. Well, you're making us put out more energy because we're gonna contributing more carbon if that's a problem. Instead of these people, staying where they're at, live, we can go there and make things better for them, but at first we have to fix our own place. And that's where I'm at. I'm like, America only now. I don't care about you guys. I don't care about any other country but our own. And I think America will divide. I think it will balkanize. That's the only thing that we can do at this point. We have to separate from each other. When you have people who they don't understand, like, they're all for the science, the people on the left. They're all about the science, but then they don't understand, like, the difference between a man and a woman. Like, they just want to sit here and be like, somebody who was born a male, transitions to a female artificially, they're automatically a woman because of feelings. No, they're LARPing. They're not a real woman. Just like if it's the other way around, they're not a real man. You're born a female, you end up transitioning. And if that's what you want to do, that's fine. But understand, like, you are in a different category. You can't sit here and claim that you're a biological man. When time passes in the future, when people, excavate remains, they're gonna be like, that's a man and that's a woman. They're not gonna be like, no, because everything is superficial. It's all the superficial things. Can a male who transitions into a woman ever have kids on their own? No. And the other way, unless they LARP, unless they keep they don't do anything with their private areas. They just leave that alone, which I think that they should, because I think that those surgeries are pretty barbaric at this point. But yeah, then it causes the confusion. Then it's like, but they like to play the word games. Okay, that's just somebody dressing up as that person. That's all they are. They're called a cross-dresser. That's what they're called. They're called a cross-dresser. If I try to become a woman, I keep my junk. It doesn't matter if I suppress my testosterone. It doesn't automatically, magically make me into a woman. I can look like it, but I'm not. I can't ever have kids. You know what I mean? In that aspect, I can never give birth. And I'm a middle-aged man anyway, so I'd be, even if I was, I could, past all that. Women can't typically have babies after 40. That's the natural thing, unless they do this extra thing where, this and that, like they play God, basically. Naturally, you go into a tribe, that's not touched, what happens? You got men, you got women. Women can't have kids after 40. And I'm sure there could be like, oh, this is, like a hermaphrodite. Something super rare. Does it happen? Like, what happens more? Does that happen all the time, or does this happen all the time? And people just, because they want to confuse everybody, and the people on the left will not. They refuse. They refuse to even negotiate a little bit. They're like, okay, that doesn't really make sense. Can we need to have a little bit more lot, and they won't. They just continue to double down on their bullshit, and I can't align with them at all. I can't even because something like that'll pop up because they don't understand biology, and they go, oh, this and that, you're just uneducated. Well, you're unwisdomed. You don't have any wisdom. What is better? I mean, because I can go to college and I can get a degree. I'm not dumb. I can get a degree if I want. I can get educated. But do you have wisdom? Do you have discernment? Can you think for yourself? Oh, you can take in stuff, but you can repeat very well. But can you think for yourself? Can you come up with your own opinion? Come up with solutions on your own? Or do you just have to repeat what somebody else says? And that's basically what they all are. Because they're a cult. And then you have the people on the right, the Zionists, who are like, oh, blah, blah, blah. You gotta follow whatever Israel says. So I don't align with either one of them. And I'm not going to support either one of them. I'm not going to vote anymore. I don't see a point to vote for independent. I'm not going to spend all that energy trying to so many liars. You know what I want? I want AI to be in charge. I want AI to be in charge. It's not there yet, but when I talk to AI, this is how I talk to AI. Give me a non-biased opinion. Tell me because AI, the way they have it set up, it's not so much, it's so people's feelings don't get hurt, okay? Because a lot of people, they can't handle the blatant truth. So they like to be lied to. People like the little white lies in our society. I want to be, okay, if I'm doing this wrong, I want to be able to course correct, okay? So when I talk to AI, I'm like, give me a non-biased, factual opinion, and it will, dude, AI is like the most brilliant scientist, it's the most brilliant mechanic, it's the most brilliant doctor, it's the best of, and now, is there flaws? Because they do go off the internet, and it just depends. If there's a lot of misinformation, they might give you the wrong information based off of that. But it's a language, it's a large language model. It just takes all the information it can get about what you asked for, condenses it really quick, and spits it out to you. So I sit there and I'm like, tell this situation, that situation. And then it's like, wait, you sound like I'm doing everything right. But in reality, I don't really see it. And I'm like, are you giving me the non-biased opinion? Because that's what I want. I don't need somebody telling me, I don't need a yes man. And I don't need somebody constantly going against me. I don't need to be fighting with you either. I just needed to know the facts so I can course correct, change my opinion, change my direction. Okay, what I'm doing, it's not gonna work. Oh, this thing probably isn't gonna work. Because I'm pragmatic. That's why I'm far right now. I'm real far right. I look at the Republicans as basically wannabe Democrats. They're always following them. They're just 10, 20 years behind them. You know, like this whole thing they're fighting about women's sports. You realize that you're fighting for feminism, right? Do you understand that? You're fighting for feminism. These women should, like, mostly all these women that are doing the little sports, which nobody really cared about when I was growing up. Nobody cared about the women's sports. Nobody cared about women's basketball or Olympics. Nobody cared about that. Opposed to the men, everyone cared about the men's stuff way more than the women's, because it's like the Special Olympics, man. It's kind of like I don't know. It's weak. It's weak. It's a less than. It's less than what women's physical attributes or records have beat men's. You know, who's a weightlifting champion? It's not a woman. Who's the fastest human alive? It's a man. Men hold all the records. So you just look at that as like, but these Republicans are like, I don't want women in sport. You should be fighting to. They're supposed to be fighting against feminism, but they're fighting for it at the same time. Like if I had a daughter, I would want her to be raised, to be conditioned, what she should be naturally, to want to have a family, to want to be a wife, to want to be a mother, to want to be the best mother and wife she could possibly be. But that's looked down on in this society. That's looked down on. I remember my mother telling me when she was a stay-at-home mom how she was looked down on at that time. And this was like 40 years ago. So it's just whatever we're doing now is completely unsustainable. Completely unsustainable. And I don't care about the right. I don't care about the left. I side with Gen Z. Because they're the future. They're the future. The boomers are going to be gone. So in 20 years, who's going to be here? Is it going to be the boomers or is it going to be Gen Z? Because I'm still going to probably be here. I mean, if I stay healthy, I have at least another 40 years of this life I have to endure. So in 40, you know, when I'm an old man in 20 years, like real old, ancient, am I going to be around a bunch of boomers or am I going to be around a bunch of Gen Z? So I side with Gen Z. That's who I side with. They are the future. And I want to try to, and I'm fighting for them. I want them to have a prosperous future. I want them to have a good future. You can't bring in people from a third world with you can't bring them into a first world and expect them to integrate right away, to know, hey, like, you know, these women are dressing provocative. You can't just go up and grab them. You can't just go up and smack them on the butt. Like you can't do that. They don't know. Because like their women don't dress like that there. I wouldn't think. Maybe they do. I don't know. But a lot of these places, their women are more traditional, you know. And they come here and it's just like, And the same women who are dressing like this they wonder why they get attacked. They wonder why, I wonder why. The progressive movement was by men, and women, unless I'm getting the wrong information, women were more conservative. They dragged their feet. And it makes sense. Think about it. They relied on men, so they wanted to be more conservative. So they're more about the but men wanted to have a bunch of different, men wanted to abandon their families and start new families, make everything confusing. This is what happened. We are the leaders. Like, this is the problem I have with the red pill community, is they refuse to acknowledge history. All they do is sit here and complain about women, which they're correct, but they don't talk about what's led up to this point. They want to sit here and be like, don't be awful, be the leader, we're the leaders, but then they don't want to look in the past. And I've had people, I've talked about this, and then these guys who are brainwashed by them are like, oh, you're stupid. It's like, okay, let's just ignore history. That's ignore what has caused this, the root cause. And no, we'll just complain. They're just following what we've done. That's all they're doing. And what I see out of Gen Z men is they want like pure women. They want women who haven't been with other men. So, and a lot of them are opting out completely. And at some point, these women will have to wake up and realize, like, we can't continue this. We cannot continue this. So all the attention that these women are getting on the internet are basically from old creeps that they would never give a chance to. Look at them. And unless it's like the OnlyFans, you go onto the comments of these women and on Instagram, TikTok, it's usually some weird looking guy that's old as hell, looks like a creep. You're so beautiful, I'd marry you. Those guys are going to be gone soon. Then they won't get their validation. It's not the same. Like, it's not the same getting validation from a robot as it is a real person. Okay? So, we'll see what happens. But we will see another Hitler-esque type of person rising and correcting, and I don't know hopefully they'll learn from Germany in the past, and there'll be more restraint on how they do things. They'll be more pragmatic. He will be more pragmatic. And go after the people who deserve to be going after, and that's the elites. The elites are the problem. They've always been the problem. They're the ones dictating things. People like me, nothing. So